Aha! Paper time! Not sure if this week's edition is for you, to be quite sincere, but if you do fancy a bit of Coupe de France, the demise of the Europa League, and a look at Cristiano Ronaldo's thighs, then feel free to stick around. Now, first up this week, we need to talk about Quevilly. The indomitable Quevilly, that is. Here we are on the cover of L'Équipe. Spelt like that, but it's pronounced Quevilly, a bit like Stefan Kuntz. And the reason that they're here on the cover of the paper, giving it large, is that they, a semi-professional side, have just reached the final of the French Cup. Oui. After beating Marseille, the amateurs from Normandy have terrassed Reims, sounds impressive, to book a place at the Stade de France. Norman conquest, eh? Now, it is true that every year the French Cup seems to throw up a story like this. Some say it's because the big clubs don't care. Others that the small sides are so full of well-trained cast-offs from the big guys' academies, who as such are particularly fired up when these big games come around. Whatever the reason though, Quevilly, who are from quite literally on the road to Reims, are one of the bigger surprises we've seen, combining this cup run with a relegation scrap in their own division and finding their winning goal against Reims with just 10 seconds left to play. They ran on their parade. Here's L'Équipe Quevilly write history. What can they dream of now? A game in New York. Yes, because that's where the French Super Cup will be played this July. Plus, points out the paper, a Europa League spot, because if Lyon end up third in League One, Quevilly could already be in. Well, more on the Europa League in a second or two. Best of luck to Quevilly in the Cup final at the end of this month. But meantime, a quick mention for the other big underdog story in France right now. Montpellier, a team who just 3 years ago were one last-minute penalty away from joining Quevilly in the semi-pros, but who are these days still on top of Ligue 1. Back clear of Paris Saint-Germain indeed, with a win on Wednesday at Marseille, in which they were actually cheered on by Marseille's own fans on the basis that any rival of the Parisians is an ami of theirs. The gap at the top is just 3 points, but like a builder on a putting green, the cracks are beginning to appear already at Paris Saint-Germain. The French press on Thursday insisting that their Director General Leonardo wants to go back to Italy and that manager Carlo Ancelotti is in talks with the FA for the England job. He'd be an eyebrow-raising selection in every sense. Well, moving along now, next up, Michel Platini, who according to German paper Bild, wants to abolish the Europa League. Yes, doing away with literally months of history. In his place, he intends to make the Champions League, says the paper, 64 teams, twice the current number. Don't celebrate yet, though, Liverpool fans, because according to Bild, the extra spots would go to teams from the likes of Latvia, Belarus and Slovakia, all part of Platini's devious plan to reward the Eastern European countries that have provided his power base. Says Bild, it's irresponsible. He says open doors, but he only wants to close them with himself inside. When Bayern find themselves in a Champions League group with Sestaponi and Skender Korci, then it's a travesty of football. Well, quiet. That sounds like Man United's draw, if anything. Well, Bayern next week, anyway, will be up against Real Madrid in the Champions League, who had a bit of unexpected drama themselves in their Liga title race this week, with Barcelona moving just a point behind them on Tuesday, and Real indeed on Wednesday facing the Madrid derby. It all had the papers going. League or your life, said Marca. Madrid trembles, said Sport. And where we had a particularly temperate, here we go, 7 days of heart attacks from Marca again. And of course the tension only increased when Real found themselves drawing 1-1 with their crosstown neighbours. Up those stepped Cristiano Ronaldo and took care of business personally. Bosh, a hat-trick, his 7th of the season, taking him to 40 goals in this campaign. Yep, Ron sealed it. And the papers, well, they were all for him on Thursday morning, as you can imagine. It is Cristiano's league, says Ass. He's the business, says Marca. He's made himself pregnant there. Surprised that hasn't happened earlier. Even the proper newspapers like El Mundo as well, getting in on the act, hailing him with a front page and CR40. They say football is a team sport, says the editorial. We say that Cristiano was faced with the most evenly matched derby in years and went and won it all on his own. Lovely picture there of his new leg flexing goal celebration. His pride understandable. It was tense, but all his hard work earned him a smooth finish. And the same goes for the game. Well, a big week coming up, eh? For Cristiano, what with the Classico on Saturday, and of course those Champions League clashes with Bayern Munich, and we'll have the paper's view on all of that coming up next week, of course, plus plenty of other stories, hopefully, besides. Hopefully we'll be seeing you then. For now, though, goodbye.